Hello and welcome back to We Read It One Night, the podcast where you listen to two sisters go on a lot of tangents and talk for hours about our favorite romance novels. Today we're wrapping up the KISS Quotient by Helen Hoang. Secrets will be revealed, teddy bears will be given, and fantasies will be had. Enjoy the show. Listen, I have some bad news. So, you know how a few days ago my AirPods went through a tumble in the washing machine?
Yes.
But then I dried them out and everything seemed to be fine. And like everyone on the internet, like, you know, this has happened to millions of other people and it's all fine. Well,
you're about to tell me that they're not fine.
It seems like, I don't know for sure, but it seems like the battery has been affected. Like I feel like they've been dying a lot faster. And today, like both headphones died. Like, you know, the ding and like disconnect sound. But then when I put them back in, it said like one of them was at like, you know, low. It was like at 5% or whatever. But the other one was at 61%. So allegedly. So I don't know why it like also died.
Speaking of technology, this is like not at all related, but I wanted to share this story. So I went to Shenandoah National Park, did a little road trip over the weekend. And on the way back there was like a traffic jam, and you know how like sometimes you like make eye contact with people, you know, when you're in traffic. There's this one guy who allegedly is like in his 20s, but he looked like he was like 16, and he was like in the back of like a, you know, Suburban, you know, like
yeah.
And he kept making eye contact with Jenna, my friend Jenna, who was sitting in the front seat. And Jenna kept like making eye contact back just like as a joke. And then he like started like winking and like smiling. And then eventually he like wrote down his number on a on a napkin. And like this was like at the traffic, and he was like trying to hold it out the window. And like this was after the traffic had moved. So Jenna was like, I don't know how you want me to get that. And then eventually he just pressed it up the window, and I like took a picture of it like as we drove by. And then we spent the rest of the trip texting.
Nice. Love that.
He's from Honduras. His name is Anthony.
How appropriate.
We thought his mom was driving the car, but now we suspect it was an Uber.
Wow, nice. In the park? An Uber in the park?
No, this was on the highway back home.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, so he's loaded
like
then.
DC.
He's going to hire like a private Uber in the car. Okay. In the park.
No, we were outside. It was a real, just like a real treat.
Nice.
A real
Love
treat.
That. Love that for you.
Hope you're doing well, Anthony. I looked him up. He may or may not be like a professional skateboarder in a past life, like as a kid, and like now he's like in like Honduras or something. I don't know.
Professional child skateboarders. What an appropriate name for this week's for Bridgerton.
Anyway, speaking of unconventional ways of meeting people, we're gonna talk about part 2 of The KISS Quotient by Helen Hoang, in which two people meet each other through an escort service. Ooh. Which, you know, my story and this story like worked out. Like it turned out, you know, nothing bad happened. But I would not recommend everyone else doing either of those.
Just to you think about the fact that like Omegle and like chat roulette were like a thing. And yeah, no.
Well, that's what Jenna was like, she's like, I feel like I'm on like chat roulette
in real life. Yeah.
She's like, I'm back in like middle school on chat roulette.
It's like, what's the opposite of like virtual? Like it's like you know,
IRL. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It was very we were LARPing chat roulette.
What? Oh yeah.
Live action role play.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I thought you were saying for a second that you used to go on chat roulette and like LARP.
No. I mean, I have been on chat roulette. That's like the middle school sleeper staple, but not.
One of my friends in high school like met this guy. She met on chat roulette at a mall like 50 minutes away from here.
What?
I know. And we were all like, "You're literally gonna get murdered." It turned out okay, but I don't know.
That's terrifying. I don't like that. I would not.
I didn't
That's
like
not
it
you.
either.
Chat roulette, you just like skip through. You're 12.
Oh yeah.
You see a lot of dicks before you're ready for them.
Yep.
That's just how it works. Do not recommend.
Nope.
For any ages.
Hard pass on that. Yep.
And if you're 12 listening to this, I mean, I can't judge you. I was fucking Googling Lily and James smut at the age of 12. So like, welcome. I hope that this can like lead you into healthy sexuality.
Far away from chat roulette.
Yeah, don't far away from chat roulette and Omegle. We keep saying this. We've said it so many times now. I feel like we're like advertising.
Yeah. That's O-M.
Omegle dot.
You would think it'd be spelled like bagel, but it's not.
Omegle.
Omegle.
One might say
Omegle. Yeah.
Omegle.
Omegle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, so we left off the KISS quotient last time. Michael finally put his 2 brain cells together. Another connection, me as a middle schooler only having 2 brain cells, and that's why me and my friends were going on chat roulette. Michael has just figured out that Stella is autistic. And we ended up on a little bit of a cliffhanger last time. So welcome to part 2.
So
he goes to her office.
Yeah.
To apologize. And he apologizes to her as well. He's like, I'm sorry. Like, I should have realized that it was being like, it was too much for you. Like, I should have like not just like thrown you into that. Like, I should have like prepped you about meeting my family. And like, that was bad of me to do. And it's very lovely. And then he's like, did you eat yet? And then she's like, yeah, I did. Like, I just ate something upstairs in my office. And like, listener, it was a chocolate protein bar. And it was like 1 bite of a chocolate protein bar. And then Michael kisses her and he was like, did you eat candy? And she's like, no. And he's like, we're going to go get dinner. Like, we're going to go feed you right now. Yeah. And he does. And he makes sure she eats. And I love that.
He takes her back to his house. Yeah.
So they go, he like drives her car. I think he like, or they're in his car and he buckles her in. And I was just like noting how it's like when Edward Cullen does this to Bella, it's creepy. But like when Michael does it, I'm like, aw, like he's concerned for her safety. You know what I mean? Like there's just a big difference. Like Michael keeps doing things that Eddie Boy like gets so much shit for, and rightfully so. But it's just like okay when Michael does them. Stella also has sweaty hands. I would just like to point that out.
Yeah,
like
she
Michael's constantly like, oh, I love her sweaty hands. Like her hands are so sweaty, but I love them anyway. No, he doesn't say like he's not like, oh, I love her sweaty hands, but he's like, I like even though her hands are sweaty, like I love holding.
Well, he keeps reassuring her. She'll be like, oh, I'm gross. I'll go like shower, and he's like, no, you're fine. My hands get sweaty when I watch people like climb high things on TV or like do anything stressful. It's terrible.
Yeah. So they go to pick up food at his mom's house.
Yeah, well, they go to eat dinner, and so it took such a long time for her to actually eat from the time. For some reason, this like got to me. I was like, he's saying he's going to feed you. It's like probably like 6 p.m. when he says that. And it's like 9 p.m. when they finally eat. But in the meantime, she gets a little bit of an appetizer because she's sitting with the mom and grandma. And okay, she specifically like they were peeling grapefruit in a way I'd never seen it peeled. And when I ate it, it didn't taste bitter at all. And I was like, what? And this sparked a whole thing today with with like realizing that apparently grapefruit isn't bitter to everyone. There's like a gene that's in like some people of European descent that makes it like really bitter. And that, because I always thought that people
it's like cilantro. Like some people think it tastes like soap.
Yeah. And I literally always thought that grapefruit was one of those things that people like, they would say they liked it only because they thought it was like quote unquote healthy, you know? They'd be like, oh, it's like people who are like, oh, my favorite food is celery. Like, you know, that kind of thing. That's what I thought was grapefruit. But no, apparently it just tastes good to some people. I can't fucking believe it. So here I was feeling guilty about like not liking grapefruit when meanwhile it's just like, it's not even a sacrifice for, it's not even healthy, by the way. It interferes with a long list of medications, like common medications, like anxiety medications, cholesterol, high blood pressure,
antibiotics,
birth control, antibiotics, antihistamines, allergy medications. Anyway,
I think it's not birth control. I think it's like Plan B, like it counteracts Plan B or something.
Yeah, I think the birth control actually isn't that backed up by science. It's just that it might possibly like slightly increase your estrogen levels or something like that. But it's fucked up. But I am intrigued by the peeling the membrane because I wasn't sure what that meant, like peeling it in a way she'd never seen. But then someone commented like, oh, it's like try peeling all the membrane off and it'll taste better. Like gets rid of the bitterness. So I'm intrigued now. Like, I want to try it, but I'm not that confident. Like I just think that it tastes like literal bile.
Big. It is like bile. I don't know whether I want to get a whole grapefruit. And even like I know some people are like, oh, just put a little sugar on it. And I'm like, no, that doesn't help. It just tastes like sweet bile.
Yeah, exactly. Stella puts salt. Yeah,
Stella puts salt.
She doesn't.
They're like, oh, you want to put some salt on it?
She doesn't do it, but yeah.
which I guess is like tequila, and it's like a you know.
Yeah, exactly. Cuts the, but it doesn't. It just tastes like when you're throwing up and there's no food left in your stomach and it's just bile. That's what it tastes like.
Yes.
But so she's like, oh, it takes them so long to like peel it. It's such hard work.
So she's like, I only want to eat 2. She only eats 2 slices. She's like, I can't eat a lot.
So then the sister Janie comes in and starts like scarfing it down, and Stella's like, oh, does she not realize how long it takes to clean it? And like, this is such a typical like younger sibling move. Like this is like I can't even think of an exact example, but I feel like this has happened so many times that I can think back of just like this like thing that it takes so long to make, and it's supposed to be like everyone gets one, and then Stefan comes home and just like eats the entire thing, like not even a thought in his head. He's just like, of course, let me eat 100% of this thing.
He just, I mean, that happened like literally last week. Like I came out to dinner like 5 minutes later than everybody else. Stefan had already scampered, and like I go to you like take the rest of the mashed potatoes, and I was like, oh, I didn't get any, and you're like, oh, and it was because Stefan ate 75% of the mashed potatoes, and the rest had to be split between 5 people.
It's just so baffling to me because I feel like we were somehow like raised in a different household where like, you know, a little bit of the food always gets left because everyone's like, we have like a word, it's called the stramotulyak, and it means like the shameful like last bit, and like you can't take it without like asking everyone at the table 16 times if they want it. But no, but see, I guess but Stefan doesn't take, I guess he also doesn't take the last bit. It's that he just takes the first 90%. It's the only thing
it's
left
that
for everyone
people
else.
give him it first. They're like, oh, Stefan, serve
Right.
yourself first.
And take more and more. Yeah. I just don't
And
understand.
he just like takes as much as he wants. I just don't understand. Is it because he's a man? Is it because he's the youngest sibling? Is it both?
I think it's yeah. I mean, actually, the only other person I can think of who's like that is both of those things also. So it's impossible to figure it out from just the small sample size. But
let us know. Everyone has that type of person in their life who like isn't afraid to just like take whatever. So like, let us know, listeners. Like, who is that for you?
The person who's up there at the buffet getting thirds before some people have had their firsts. That's the kind of thing. That's
no. The buffet is different because it's a buffet.
No, you know but like but I'm talking about the kind of thing where like it's like a camp, like a group setting. You're going table by
like
table.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, you're going table by table, and this person just like goes up and we're like at the table before everyone's finished eating. They are on their thirds, and like there's not going to be enough food before everyone's finished serving themselves. Like that kind of thing, which was like beaten out of me. I feel like by the age of like 6. Like I do remember like being at some kind of buffet situation, might have been like a swim banquet or something, and like finishing eating earlier and like being like, oh, can I get more? And people around me be like, no, you have to wait. You have to wait until everyone's like gone through. And I'm like, all right. And you know, never questioned it again.
Like you have to wait until the well, I would go, what I would do in those situations, I would just be like, okay, there's the end of the line. Like there's been enough time that everybody who wanted to get in line could have gotten in line. Right. And so now I will go to the end of the line. Yeah. But like I will get in line again. You know what I mean?
No, buffet is slightly different etiquette, I guess, but like it's the same vibe. Yeah. It's like you either feel entitled to that or you don't. And that's just like
a few things I just want to highlight. Like before they even go into the house, Michael is like reassuring Stella that she can always tell him when something makes her uncomfortable. He's like, you don't like have to just like muscle through it with me. Like I will support you. He also decides to not tell her that he knows about her autism, which is kind of set up to be this like something that's going to be like a conflict, like a revelation that happens, and she's going to be like, how could you not tell me? But it's like doesn't really operate that way. Does kind of end to lead to conflict because Stella's like, oh, he's just been with me this whole time because he's been pitying me, but like it's not like how could you keep this from me that you knew? And then she also like whenever they go in, like he's like has like his arm around her and she turns to him like he's her safe space.
Oh yeah,
it's just very cute.
Yeah,
because he is. Michael's also shook this whole time because Stella's like talking with his family and she's like, oh my god, like she's treating them all like they each matter and like they're each like special individuals. And like what? Like Michael once again sees Stella treating people like human beings and he's like, what is this magic? Like what is I don't understand.
And then Michael's like revealing how much he Googled Stella before and like bragging about her a little bit because Quan and him like Googled and like stalked her a little bit. And he's like bragging about her and he's like, oh yeah, like Stella's like super smart. She got her PhD. She's like, her mom's like, oh, are you a doctor? And Michael's like, oh, she is. And Stella's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, yeah, you are. You have a PhD. And he's like, she went to like the University of Chicago, which is like the best economic school, which is true. Okay. Very good, very competitive program. However, he's like, oh, she graduated magna cum laude. which is not a thing generally for PhD programs. Okay. It's just not a thing, like the Latin honors. However, I was willing to give them, a slide. Maybe she also went there for undergrad or something. And he's talking about that. Then I looked it up. The University of Chicago didn't even start giving its undergraduates Latin honors until 2015, which again, if we're doing this math, Stella got, it's been more than 3 years since Stella graduated undergrad, right? It's been more than 3 years since she got her PhD. She was not getting any kind of Latin honors. And that's meaningless outside of the school sets the definition. It's not like every school, for example, 3.5 and up is magna cum laude. No, it's like dependent on the school's definition. It's yeah.
Yeah, but again, if you don't have a PhD, that's not something that you would even think to Google. I wouldn't even think to look that up. I would just assume that PhDs also did fucking grade systems.
Why?
What do you mean? Because it's school, it's college. I would assume that it works the same way as every other school,
but it's not
system in the United States.
No,
I just feel like you have a you can't.
No,
you can't be like, no, that's not something that people that's something people should know because you have a PhD. You can no longer participate in the discussion about what the average layperson knows about PhDs, Rachel. You're not allowed to.
The average person, I never could because I never thought you had to pay for it, which apparently the average person probably thinks.
Anyway, that's Rachel's apparently now bi-weekly rant about the University of Chicago.
Okay. So they have a nice dinner, yeah, and they go home.
Wait. There are two things that happen before they get home. And they exit, they go into the car and they start making out in the car. And then Jeannie knocks on the window and totally cockblocks them and is like, oh, your headlights are keeping grandma awake, so you guys need to leave. Great. And then Stella falls asleep on the way home and Michael carries her. Michael, I think, does he take her to her house?
Yeah,
Michael takes her to her house and carries her in.
We skipped over the conversation where she's like, well, what do people in relationships do? And he's like, they live together. I'm like, not after 3 dates, but okay.
Michael's already in love with her. Yeah. At this point, Michael's like, shit.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, well, I'll just have to move in with you. So yeah, they go to her place and he's looking at all of her, she falls asleep and then she wakes back up, right?
No. She wakes up. She falls asleep in the car and he carries her in and puts her to bed. And it's very cute. She does not wake up. He's already been in her house before.
Oh, yeah, true. But this is the first time he's been in her bedroom and stuff. So in the morning,
Stella wakes up. She's immediately stressed because she hasn't brushed her teeth. And I was again, I too, again, I feel this stress.
And Michael, he's like, oh, I really want to eat you out. And Stella's like, oh, well, now that I know it's something that he wants, it wouldn't just be me being selfish. She's like, I want to be the best at it. I'm very competitive. I was just like, LOL, Stella wanting to be the best at receiving oral sex.
Yeah, it's just I want to please him more than any of his other clients. And once again, Michael is like, oh my God, she cares about my pleasure. She cares about my experience. What? She's treating me with respect. What is this? I don't understand. Yeah. The two brain cells are scrambling around being what is going on? It's that SpongeBob episode where we threw everything out, but fine dining and breathe. Michael threw everything out, but loving his family and I don't know, fucking. He threw out the self-respect card.
Yeah.
Just doesn't understand. This poor man.
And then she's like, oh, well, now that I have this performance anxiety about being the best at getting eaten out, I I'm less into it. And so he has to
and he's so turned on by her pussy that she's oh my God, he loves it so much. Even though I'm nervous, I have to let him do it. She also is constantly, she gets wet really quickly, even if she doesn't necessarily come very quickly. She's very quick to get aroused. Yeah. And Michael compares her to a Lamborghini because he's you're 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. And then he's don't buy me one.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sounds immediately Lamborghini.
She's like, do you like Lamborghinis?
He's do not buy me a Lamborghini.
His current car is a BMW bought for him by his stalker client.
Yeah. Stella doesn't know that yet. She knows she suspects a former client bought it for him. She doesn't know it's the shitty
Yeah.
stalker woman we've already met.
I thought that it was cute when he was like teaching her, like, I guess not anatomically correct, but like she was like, it's your pussy. It's not, he's like, in Vietnamese, like people are very modest too, and they call it like your little bird. My aunt calls it your sweet potato. And
And he's like, but it's your pussy. And she's like, oh my God. And he's like, your
she's like
pussy.
really
And
into
she's just
it.
like quaking. And then he's like eating her out. And like, as he's doing it, he's like, clearly you hate this. And then he keeps going. And like, she gets
Yeah.
more turned on. He's like, yeah, you hate this so much. And she's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's very hot.
Yeah. So then they finally have sex and it's great.
They do doggy style because Stella's only ever done missionary. And she's like, that's too intimate for me. Like, I don't like the eye contact. I don't like that we're like face to face like that. So they do doggy style. And she's like, wow, this is like so much better.
And then afterwards, Michael's like getting dressed and he kind of does like a reverse striptease for her. He's like, oh, I can tell she's watching. So, like, you know, it does take a lot of muscles to get dressed. And like, might I be going a lot more slowly? And then he's like looking through her closet and he's like, Stella, do you have any like casual clothing or is it all work clothes?
She wears exclusively pencil shirts and like Oxford
Skirts.
pencil skirts and
Yeah.
Oxford shirts
With like special
and
seams that are
pumps.
made French seams. I had to look up what that was. But it's when like the inside of the seam is also like folded on itself, so it's not exposed. And she's like, I restrained
I
myself
watched Project
from
Runway.
nice. She's like, I restrained myself from reciting fabric types and qualities like an encyclopedia. But she's like, I don't think anything itchy or scratchy, denim, wool, angora. And like, and then he's like, oh, well, we got to go shopping. Like, because like, do I have the clothing for you? And just like, God, athleisure is such a gift. Like, I don't know how. I just like love it. I'm like revolutionizing.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't believe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
I know.
in a world where we could wear anything, I just can't imagine that how could work clothes be like the most comfortable for anyone? I don't understand.
Well, she
But
also likes things that are very fitted. She's like, I like when they're
right. So
tight and
yoga
very
clothes.
tailored. But she
Yeah,
can't wear athleisure to work. So she's like, there's no point. She's like, I spend all my time at work. I'm not gonna like,
here's the thing.
I'm just gonna invest in this, which I get.
No, tight work clothes are like not stretchy. So they're not like fitted. They're just like too tight and constraining. Like that's worse almost.
I mean, are that, but she
I feel
gets hers like specially tailored. You know what I
it's
mean?
still
Like, I
not going
feel
to be
like
a stretchy fabric. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I don't, it's different.
He's like, we gotta go shopping. And so, surprise, surprise, she loves yoga pants. What?
Yeah, she discovers yoga pants and she's like, oh my God, this is a revolution. She's like, I'm getting one in every color. But she's also like, after sex, Stella's like, I have to remember that this is just practice. And then we switch to like Michael's head and he's like, I don't know what that was, but it was not practice. Like, that was really emotional. So they both have 2 brain cells and none of the 4 are communicating with each other.
Mm-mm. So later, so basically Michael like has moved in with her at this point.
And Stella decides to seduce him.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I want him to stay with me after the month is over. Yeah. I want to keep him.
So is this when they go to his place to get his clothes? So he lets her see his place. And she's like looking around. This is when she's like, oh, I need to leave my scent everywhere.
No,
like,
not yet.
Late. I know it's after that, but it's like the scene.
No, they don't go to his place yet.
Oh.
No. There's something she discovers, the KISS quotient. The love hypothesis. This is when she starts doing it. So she's at work. She goes to work. It's like a Saturday or whatever. And she discovers like a trend in her data that she discovers that married men don't buy underwear for themselves, like on the whole. And she discovers that they like start. Yeah, they stop like doing it. And like there's like a correlation between like nice dates and like nice like traditionally romantic gifts and like not buying underwear. And she's like, what is this? Like, could I possibly quantify love? And I was like, well,
no,
okay,
she doesn't figure it. Yeah, she doesn't figure it out.
No, not yet.
She's
But
like,
I'm like, well, okay.
this?
I'm like, first of all, let's be specific here. This is quantifying a very specific type of heterosexual love. Let's not make generalizations about everything. But so she's really excited about this. And then Philip James also happens to be like walking by. Like she's like, oh, I have to pick something up.
No, this is when she breaks her rubber band. So she's like taking her hair out and her rubber band breaks. So she's forced to wear her hair down for the first time ever. And this is like the classic, like ugly girl becomes hot by like taking her hair down. She does keep her glasses on though, at least.
Yeah. But everyone's like shook. She also, because she sends Michael a picture and he's like, unbutton your top 2 buttons. Yeah. So, but yeah, PJ starts hitting on her as she's going to meet Michael and she's just like not interested. But I'm like, why? Like Philip James is such a contradiction. Like, I don't understand. Like he's both a dick, but like also seems genuinely interested in her. Like it's weird.
It
Like
is
I don't
weird.
understand him.
I know. Was he also like,
I don't think he is. No, I think he's just a
I don't know.
fuckboy.
He
I
has a
don't understand.
Lamborghini.
He's an enigma. He
He
does
definitely
have a
has some
Lamborghini, and
issues of
Stella's
some
like,
kind.
I don't like Lamborghinis that much anymore.
So she goes and meets up with Michael and they get dinner. And then he's like,
She's thinking, sorry, at the time she's like, how is she supposed to seduce him when he seduced her so well?
I know, it's when he dazzled me. Very, yeah, Twilight. And he's like, oh, my place is nearby. We can just swing by and get my stuff. And then she's like, I wish she told me how nearby, so I wouldn't have like had to try to find a parking spot because it's literally like next door to to the restaurant. And then like they're going in and he's like, he tried to see the space through her eyes, like, which is such a like, I don't know, universal experience of like bringing someone to like
Yeah. He's like
your
self-conscious. He's like, it's not messy, but like it's small. He also has a punching bag hung up in flagrant violation of his rental agreement. And I just like, do I wish I had the confidence to like flagrantly disregard my rental agreement? The number of things like I wish I like would have had the confidence to hang up, but I was just like so afraid of like getting charged thousands of dollars for like accidentally leaving a hole in the wall. Like, man, I wish I could flagrantly violate my rental agreement. If any landlords are listening to this, no, you didn't. You didn't hear that.
And then Stella's like, can I kiss you? And this is once again, he's like, you don't have to ask. She was the only one who ever did. Maybe that's why he was so crazy about her. And we get the kiss was a savage thing of teeth and tongues.
Where are the lips?
I know.
Helen.
Yeah, no lips. And then she's like, she admits, she's like, I'm getting obsessed with you. That's my nature. I have. And then she doesn't get it out because they're like making out.
They exchange martial arts DVDs. She's like looking at his DVD collection. He's like, oh, you can borrow it. And she's like, really? She's like, oh my God, really? And so she has this like, it's like 100 episode series, like martial arts, like TV show series. And she's like very excited about it. She also gets very sad that Michael doesn't get to do what he loves all day, that like he has to just like work at the dry cleaners and he doesn't get to design
she's
clothes.
Like, I can't imagine.
Like,
yeah.
She's like, I love what I do. And like, why can't Michael also do what he loves to do? And this is also when she invites Michael to be her date to her mother's benefit dinner in a month, because her mother is a fancy rich lady who hosts benefit dinners. And Stella's like, oh, my mom's just going to set me up with someone. So like, you might as well come. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. She curls up, like right before they have sex, she curls up in his bed and he's like so turned on by just like seeing her snuggle. She like makes a little nest in his sheets. And it's just, she's like, oh my God, like this is the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then, but he's also like constantly thinking about how like all the things that they do, she's only doing because like she wants to learn it for somebody else. Like he doesn't think that she like actually wants to do it with him. And I'm like, you poor Michael baby, like she's trying to seduce you and like you just don't have the self-confidence to appreciate it. Like Michael. He also sniffs her fucking panties. He sniffs. We have panty sniffing. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. We have panty sniffing and dirty talk. And then he realizes that he doesn't have a condom.
And he's like, what kind of escort am I? Like, some failure. It's so embarrassing. So he has to like run out to the car. And Stella's like, she's like, oh, like the honey badger. I'm like a naturally like, I'm not a lazy person. I like to be like on the hunt or something. She's like, I must snoop. So she's like walking around, like rubbing her scent everywhere and like snooping. And she
metaphorically peeing on all of his shit.
Yeah. And so she finds like his bills, and first of all she finds out what his real name is, and she was like, oh, he doesn't trust me enough to tell me his real name. It's Michael Larson. But did he just like never mentioned his last name, right? It's not like he ever like actively lied.
I think he gave her like a fake last name.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I didn't
like
remember
or something.
That,
but the reason that he didn't tell her is not because he doesn't trust her, but because he doesn't want her to know about his dad. Because like I guess he's Googleable. But I was like, Larson is a pretty common last name.
Extremely common.
And like you don't know his dad's first name, so like why is there any reason why you would come up like your whatever? And she also finds his mom's medical bills, and she's like, oh my God, his mom has cancer. Like maybe I should have gone to medical school so I could cure cancer.
Oh my
He's
God,
like,
yeah.
how can I help him?
Well, also because in the beginning, like way back when, he told her that his mom is always trying to set him up and has tried to set him up with like every single doctor and nurse in the, Palo Alto, whatever, like medical center. And that's why she's like, oh, maybe I think that's where how the doctor theme starts, because she's like, that's what his mom wants him to marry. So like if I were a doctor, it would make him more likely to want to like be with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she figures out that he's like been paying the bills basically.
She realizes that that's why he's escorting, because initially she was like, maybe he has like a drug addiction or a gambling addiction, and like that's why he has to escort even though he has a job. And then she like realized, she's like, oh my God, like he's doing it for his mom, like. And then she just like feels guilt, like she feels like a little bit guilty, but also like wants to go to medical school real quick and cure cancer.
Yeah. So okay, so they have sex and then
She admits that she's obsessed with him, and she's like, I'm obsessed with you, I like you better than calculus. Which is a big deal because Stella loves math. Michael does have a thought where he's like, oh my God, I've fallen in love with her. Like, wee warning signals go off, bad. He doesn't say it out loud, but yeah, they go over her
they have like
house.
a montage basically of like they've been living together, and she comes home early one day, right?
Yeah, and she's
And she's like,
playing
it's so
Claire de Lune.
empty. Yeah, and he's like, what song is that? I feel like I've heard it before. I'm like, dude, everyone in the English speaking world knows this song.
Why is it always Claire de
It's
Lune?
always Claire de
I
Lune.
don't understand. Was there some sort of like romance novelist convention where like Helen Hoang was there,
No.
Stephanie Meyer was there? I don't know. The writers of fucking Ocean's 11 were there, and they were like, we got to use Claire de Lune and everything. That's got to
I
be our
don't
go-to
know.
piece.
And like she's like, oh, Claire de Lune is like too romantic or something. Or later on she says that, like, and I'm like, Claire de Lune is like sad. Like, I don't understand. Like, I guess is it supposed to be romantic? I guess, but like,
No, she says it's like too mournful or
yeah.
something.
No, she says too romantic for sure. And I would say it's mournful.
He's like, oh, it's too mournful, and then they play fucking Heart and Soul.
Yeah. And
They
he's
play
like,
Heart and
oh,
Soul.
how'd you figure out how to play it like by yourself, not as a duet? I figured that out too.
I did not.
And
I cannot do that.
yeah, so they play it. It's cute. This is when they actually have the grapefruit scene. I think we skipped ahead of that. This is when they go back to dinner, and
They
then
eat grapefruits on multiple occasions.
he constantly like pinches her chin, which is a weird way to phrase it, but I get the visual. Like it's more like, I don't know how it's this.
Just
What
like
would you call
tilting her
this?
chin up.
It's like the who
You
did
know
this
what
to
I
you?
mean?
Are you lost, baby girl? Like that's what it is.
I prefer who did this to you. Are you lost,
Yeah.
baby girl? Is just he's really close to you, but he's not
Yeah.
touching you. You know
I
what
know,
I mean?
yeah. So this is when Michael's sister Janie needs a internship, but because her mom got sick her first year at Stanford, which honestly, like I feel like your GPA doesn't matter if you go to Stanford, but whatever. She's like her GPA kind of tanked her first year because she was busy with family stuff.
Well, I would say it does if you are trying to compete for jobs in Silicon Valley.
Maybe. I
Like
don't know.
everybody's gone to Stanford. You know what I mean? Like I just feel
Yeah.
like there's like a high concentration of internship people competing for internships that have all gone to super prestigious schools in Silicon Valley. But she's studying economics, which is why she's asking Stella. Janie call is it Jeannie or Janie? I feel like the audiobook pronunciation changed like halfway through, because originally it was definitely Jeannie, because like I wrote down a pronunciation guide because I wanted to remember, but then towards the end that she was saying it Janie is like, she calls Stella sister 2 in Vietnamese, because like all the siblings are called like by birth order, so like Michael is brother 2 because they don't start with 1, they start with 2, so he's the oldest brother, and he's like, you get Michael's number, and it's like, it's just like a cute little like,
Yeah, it was cute. But like, is she displacing the other sister? Because I could have sworn she like mentioned, maybe it's probably a different word, but she definitely like says another sister is already sister too. But
yeah. Anyway, she's sister 2 because she's Michael's, and it's just like, it's like a Letterman jacket thing, but like with Vietnamese birth order names. It's great. She also tries shrimp sauce, which everybody else besides like Janie doesn't like, or yeah, like one of his
the
sisters
two
likes
youngest
it.
sisters like won't try it.
And Michael's also like, oh, it's disgusting. And Stella tries it. She's like, this is fucking delicious. And she like, get officially is back in like Michael's family's good graces. Like she's like ingratiated herself for real in the family.
So the next day, Stella's at work and she's talking to Philip about like the intern thing. And he's like, oh, my cousin would be perfect. And she's like, oh, well, like I actually already have a candidate in mind, but like okay, tell your cousin so we can't have nepotism. And I'm just like, as if like two nepotistic candidates like competing is like so much better. Like, what? You're not exactly like opening up the floor here. Like, why don't just give it to fucking Janie? I really didn't understand why they were bending over backwards to make like to have it be like, oh well, Janie like impressed everyone. She really won it. Like as if it wasn't between like Stella's boyfriend's sister and Philip's cousin. Like, all right. Just admit to it. It's fine. All right. Like whatever.
Well, she wasn't Stella's boyfriend's sister at the time of the
Yeah, but
actual
don't try
interview.
to I just don't understand. Like don't try to make it be like, I don't know.
Yeah, good old PJ asked her out on a date. What was that? What were you even playing with?
Stefan's bubble popper.
You're a menace. You're a menace. Okay, so PJ asked her to be his date to the charity benefit.
He's like, I've had a crush on you this whole time. And she's like, why didn't you ask me out this whole time that we've been working together? And he's like, you intimidate the hell out of me. And I was trying to seem more
Oh
worldly.
my
I was like,
God.
all right, so like negging level 1000. Like,
It's
all
the
right.
fucking fuckboy playbook, like
Yeah.
101. And Stella just gives people in general just like way too much of the benefit of the doubt. She's like,
Yeah.
maybe like he was just like nervous or whatever. But it's because she's like, I get misinterpreted all the time. So
Mhm.
like I try to like be very generous with people because like that's how I want people to do me. And then we have another instance of my emoji use. PJ kisses her without her consent.
Oh my God.
And he's like, I'm the one you're going to fall in love with. Even though you just told me you're going on a date with your fucking boyfriend, like a lunch date. You're going to fall in love with me. Oh, God.
He's like, you just have to get used to me, Stella. I know. It's just,
He's
yeah.
literally fucking assaults her. Like she very clear. Oh my God. And then she like runs. She feels like so violated after the kiss. She like goes to the dry cleaning store and she like runs into the bathroom and just like flushes out her mouth with water for like 5 seconds, for like 5 minutes. And Michael is like, what happened? And she like tells him. And Michael, another example, Michael is ready to kick ass.
Do you have the quote? You just washed your mouth out for a whole minute. Now I'm going to wash his out with blood.
And you know what? For the number of like, and later on, Stella has like a little like daydream fantasy where she like imagines like Michael and PJ fighting.
Dueling,
And like
yeah.
the number of times that we get these fantasies and it doesn't actually happen, like I wanted Michael to just fully beat up Philip James. Unfortunately, you know, he has to stay out of jail, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but people only go to jail when it's convenient in books, you know what I mean? Like, they go to jail when they
Yeah.
shouldn't. They don't go to jail when they definitely should. I guess it's kinda like the real world, but, like
Yeah. But Michael is like, "Why did it feel so wrong when he kissed you?" And Stella's like, "Because he wasn't you."
Mm. And then he's like this is probably, like, their hottest sex scene, I would say. He's like, they needed to erase every last trace of that piece of shit. Needs needs to mark her as his. And then but I'm thinking this whole time, I'm like, your mom is in the next room. And, like, this is like a fucking strip mall. Like, the walls are thin. I know it.
Shh. It's okay. They've
And
already kissed
then
in front of his mom. He rips her underwear though.
yeah. And he's like, "I'll get you." She's like, "Oh, no." And he's like, I'll buy you some new ones. Like, I don't mind. And he's like, this seems like a very like non sequitur, but he's like, though in most couples, women buy all the underwear. And she's like, why? And he's like, I think it's because they do a lot of shopping and they like to take care of the people they love. It's like, I
Yeah,
know
there
you
definitely
did
is
this.
some just in this book in general, there's some very
Mhm.
much like gender essentialism, which just like every other part of the book is just so lovely that like I
Yeah.
don't mind it, but it definitely is. Like it's interesting because again, you have the duality of
Mhm.
Michael and like this like whole subversion of masculinity and gender roles and like all of that, and like the fact that Stella is like the rich one and Stella's the breadwinner, and like totally flips like so many common romance tropes, but in the same way it's also still like very keeping with a lot of things like that, like the whole underwear thing. I was like, is that true? I don't know. If Pa ever asked me to start buying his underwear, I'd be like, buy your
Right.
own fucking underwear.
I
Like,
know. And if
no.
it doesn't come off to me as like a romantic, like, I do this because I care about you. It comes off as like this man has found the woman who's going to be his new mother figure and has just like completely
Yeah.
wholesale pawned off all his like domestic work onto her immediately.
I mean, I guess it's, like, easier for men to buy underwear because I guess, like, when men buy underwear, they just buy, like, a 5-pack of boxers, you know what
That's
I mean?
kinda
Like,
what I
that's
do
sort of, like
too, frankly.
I know, but, like, I don't know, for, like my underwear is a lot more at least it used to be, like, I used to, like, go to Victoria's Secret and, like, pick out each thing, but, yeah, now I just kind of go to well, I still do that, I go to Target and I just, like, go through, like, the bin of underwear and I pick it out. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I was like, I don't know about this underwear thing, but it's like cute and like mathy, so like, I forgive it. But Stella has a brain blast. She's like, oh my god, this has been the key all along. It's like it's love, like it's relationship. Like this is what I need to like account for in my econometrics thing. And then Michael has made her a dress. He's made her a
Oh,
dress.
yeah, it's perfect, obviously. It's for the benefit dinner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they have a little thing where he's like, "You're older than me." Like, I've always had a thing for older women. I mean, she's like 2 years older than him, but it's
yeah.
like still it's another thing. It's like flipping the like classic romance tropes, you know? Like so it's just it's very interesting like how this book like walks that line. And yeah, so then Stella is like, "Well, I love Michael. So I'm gonna buy him underwear." And she buys him underwear and she like hides it in his drawer and she's like, he'll find it and he'll know that I love him.
She hides it in her drawer, she hasn't given it to him yet. Oh, yeah, his drawer at her place, yeah.
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 And yeah, she doesn't give it to him, she just hides it in the drawer. Stella's also thinking about how like Michael loves her. Or I forget. Okay. One of them is thinking about how Michael loves her like for her autistic traits instead of like in spite of them. Like he loves how she gets like hyper fixated on work and like he
Mhm.
loves like all her quirks and it's not just like he's tolerating them. Like that's like those are why he loves them. Loves her. And it was just so cute.
So, they go to the benefit dinner, and Stella's like she's like, "Oh, make sure I don't get, like, carried away and take over the conversation," like, to Michael, and she's like, "My mom likes to surround me with new people." And, like, her mom just, like, sucks more and more, like, force me to, like, talk to people. I'm glad Michael's here. So, they get there to the table, and it's Stella's mom, Stella's dad, Philip, James, PJ, all chatting it up.
PJ and Michael have like a dick measuring contest where they like squeeze each other's hands really tight. And like Michael's like, I'm literally
Michael's like, "Why is this guy, like"
squeezing my hand so much. And then he realizes that it's because
he's
he's the guy that
introduced.
kissed Stella.
Yeah.
And then he's like that clip in The Office where like Michael is like speaking behind his hand to like Toby and it's like, I'll kill you. Like I'll kill you. Like that's Michael and Philip the entire dinner. Like Michael's like, I could kill you. Like, don't forget this.
Michael's like, he wasn't supposed to be this good looking. He was supposed to be like a total like
Supposed
nerd.
to be named like Dwayne or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're chatting and Michael's dad, I mean, Stella's dad is like a total dick. And he's like, "Oh, Michael, like, what do you do?" Like, I forget how it starts.
He just like he's being classist and like snobby and like making Michael feel bad.
Right. He's like, "Oh, you're in fashion. Like, so do you work at one of the fashion houses?" And Michael's like, "No, not really. I'm not really doing anything right now." Cause he's not about to like get into his mom's cancer with like these people who are looking down at him. And then, so then Stella and like everyone else are talking about like econometric stuff. And Michael's like, "I'm going to go get some air outside."
No, no, no. I'm sorry. The
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Philip
Damn.
James's mom shows
Oh
up.
my God.
And guess
Eliza.
who Philip James's mom is? But none other than Michael's crazy stalker ex-client.
Oh my
And it
God.
just chaos. The rest of the scene is she's constantly making innuendos, except she does not even innuendos, she's full out like, yeah, Michael and I slept together.
Immediately outs herself and she's like, "Oh, like I guess would you have met my parents too for the right price?" Like,
My
I mean, I
God.
guess like own it if you're gonna hire an escort. I just like can't. It just seems so like,
Jeez.
yeah, she's just like wildly rude.
And Michael like dips. Philip James is having an existential crisis, as he should, at like no less than he deserves. Yeah, Michael and Stella go outside and they get in a fight because like Michael's like totally retreating into his insecurities and he tells her all about his dad.
Being a con
And but
artist.
he's like the worst part is like I still love my dad and like I still miss my dad.
I really expected the dad to come back at some point, but he just doesn't.
That is just being a dick elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's never resolved in the rest of the trilogy either. Like,
It doesn't have to be. I think the whole point is like he's succeeding like in spite of that.
yeah, I guess so. It's just such a like maybe it's not that niche. Maybe this kind of con artist shit like happens every day and I'm just not aware of it. But like she seems like such an outlandish. I don't know how to describe it. It just seems like such a detailed thing to not ever see the character. Maybe that's just me.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether the whole like internationally like makes the news level con artist man is like a thing, but I
Yeah.
feel like the whole like man fucks over his wife financially and like then
Then
dips
absconds. Yeah.
is a story that I have heard frequently enough that like it's not something that I question.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, so Stella's like obviously super understanding, but Michael's like, you know what? I forget what the exact like phrasing or like fake logic is, but he's like, yeah, I'm
He's
sorry.
like,
Like we
"You're
have to end
fine.
this.
Like, you've succeeded. Like, you've graduated from the practice. Like, you should go be with someone who, like, is good enough for you." And he reveals that he's known she was autistic the whole time, and, like, Stella now thinks that he's breaking up with her because of that, and, like, this was all, like, a pity thing, and, like, he never
Mhm.
actually liked her, and she just, like he implies that it's, like, it was just sex.
Yeah. She's like, let's leave. And he's like, okay, where do you want to do it? In the car or at your place? And she's like, what? And he's like, "It's just sex, Stella, like, it's nothing more." It's like the classic, like, we were never friends," like, dick, yeah. He's not really a dick about it, but, like
But this is more like him, like his like insecurities being
right,
like, I'm not worth anything more than just being like someone that gets paid to fuck people.
right, and we learned that what we didn't say before is that his dad, in addition to all of his, like, illegal shit, was also just kind of a total dick because he was always pressuring Michael to do something, like, STEMmy, like, becoming, like, an engineer or something, and Michael applied to a bunch of engineering schools and got in, but turned them down to go to the Fashion Institute, and as a result, his dad was like, "All right, well, I'm not paying for your college and you have to pay for yourself and I'm cutting you off." Which like what like I feel like Michael's mom deserves a little at least a bit like at least a lot of the flack for this too because why did she allow that to happen? And like she has her own business and her own income. Like why is she allowing her like teenage son to be cut off by
Why
his
does this keep
ex-husband?
happening in these
I know.
contemporaries? Dads forcing their sons to pay for college when they don't have to.
And mom's going along with it. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think the whole point, like, I think we're sort of led to believe, like, even though Michael's mom is like, she's like very strong, she's independent, like she recognizes how much of a dick her dad is. It is very much like sort of a cycle of abuse where like, cause
yeah,
she's like, she knew he was cheating the whole time and like she knew all these bad things, but she kept taking him back. And so it's very much, it's like it's a bad dynamic for her as well. And I'm sure there's also the element of like I don't know whether Michael's mom is an immigrant, but like her mom definitely is. And so it's sort of like, Michael's dad has
because his mom is an immigrant. Yeah,
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 I think his mom is an immigrant. His grandma definitely is, but I'm not sure. Like I think his mom is as well. And so like there's probably also that element of like, oh, my position is not as secure as yours is. And so like, do I really want to take me and like our 6 children? It's like a hard position for Michael's mom to be in.
maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure she has like citizenship by this point, but
Sure, sure. But I'm just saying, like, in general, like, she doesn't have as many roots in the United States. Like, she doesn't have as much of a support system necessarily as.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to judge. Yeah. But basically there's that whole dynamic too. And Michael, like his dad, it seems kind of out of character for this kind of dad, again, like going along with the theme of this book. But his dad was like never encouraging like sports or anything physical except for like martial arts for some reason. But Michael's like, yeah, like and when he didn't go to engineering school, his dad was like, oh well, you're nothing but a pretty face or something like that. And that's why Michael was like, oh
Yeah.
well, like it'll be a huge fuck you to him, like go into escorting because I really won't be just making money off my like quote unquote pretty face.
So Michael leaves, and then Stella's like, I want to leave, but like Michael said that like he wants to go and like get his stuff from my place. So like I can't go back there because like I should give him space. So she goes back and sits at the table and she's like, oh, Michael and I just broke up. And the rest of the table just immediately starts fucking trashing him. And Stella is like, all of you can shut the fuck up. Like, you guys are big dicks. She like calls out her dad for being
Yeah.
classic. She's like, his mom has fucking cancer. And her dad's like, why wouldn't he say anything? And then I think her mom is like, why the fuck would he say anything when you were being such a dick? Like, why would he tell you that? And I was like, what? Stella's mom?
Yeah, it's a
Like,
total reversal.
wow.
The mom's like to the dad, she's like, "You don't realize, like, you just want someone who can take care of her financially, but, like, you don't realize she doesn't need that. She can take care of herself financially."
Yeah, he wanted someone that he could like show off as a son-in-law, I think. Because PJ and him are like golf partners. You know what I mean? He wanted like that kind of like son-in-law.
Yeah.
But don't worry, friends. The mom is not that redeemed because Stella goes outside to like take a breather. And the mom is like, she comforts her, but then she's immediately like, don't worry, you'll find a new guy. So I was like, all right, we're back on this train. Great.
Yeah, and she's like, "I've always wanted an artist for you, like, someone who could take care of you," which is I thought was cute. I don't know. It was just like a little moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's immediately like, and Stella's like, she finally is like, voices some boundaries, and she's like, "Mom, I want like a break from all of this. Like, can we just like lay off the whole like matchmaking?" And the mom's like, "Okay." So Stella goes home. Oh, this is when she's like, "I can't play Claire de Lune because it's too romantic." Like, I'm too
Wait,
sad.
not yet, not yet. We get a scene. So Michael's packing, and as he's packing his stuff, he finds the underwear.
I have this. She's like, he's like, he felt permanently pair bonded like a goddamn swan. Only his swan
Yeah.
hadn't bonded back. He's a swan, she's a honey badger. I feel like I was about to say I feel like honey badgers eat swans, but I also feel like swans could definitely hold their own against
No.
any
Oh,
animal,
yes.
especially, even a honey
Swans,
badger.
100%. Like, they would what it would
Yeah.
be is the honey badger and the swan would meet. The honey badger would be like, "Oh, a large treat." And then the swan would just kick its ass, and then they would, like, part with a mutual, like, level of respect and then, like, meet up every once in a while at the local pond.
Yep, it would be like a
Like,
coyote, is it the honey badger and the
it's
coyotes that hunt together,
no,
or is it a
it's
different kind of
a
badger?
regular badger. I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
a are there
Yep,
other
great.
kinds of badgers?
Yeah, yeah, regular badger, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, in that
They
video,
actually hunt
yeah.
together, yeah. Well, no, it's not just a video, it's like an established thing.
Yeah, honey badgers and the coyotes. But yeah, swans are menaces in case you weren't
Yeah,
aware.
they
Swans
drown
are
people every
fucking
so often.
menaces. Yeah, so and then Michael also returns the check for $50,000. And Stella wakes up, she finds the check and she's pissed. And then she reverses her morning routine.
She showers from the bottom up. She flosses so hard that her gums bleed, which honestly is a great feeling. Not to, like, recommend this to anyone because I don't think it's good for you, but the exquisite pain of flossing at just the right angle. Mm.
Wait, are you gonna tell them it's apparently that's like a thing that like people can get
I
like
don't know if
addicted
it's a thing. All
to?
I found was, like, Reddit thread. I found, like, one Reddit thread of this person being like, "My 8-year-old daughter, I think she has a problem. We have to hide the floss."
Anyway,
Yeah.
guys, watch out. Don't make yourself bleed when you floss. And then she's like, I'm gonna reinvent myself. And she puts on a dress, and this is a dress that she wore earlier. And she was like, I have to wear she was like talking to Michael. She was like, I can't wear a bra with this dress because like
Mhm.
because it like has a back it doesn't it's like backless or something, but like I
Yeah.
also can't my nipple, like I can't not wear a bra because like you can see my nips. And Michael was like, oh, that's really fucking hot. So like she throws on the nipple dress and she doesn't wear the cardigan because she's like, I'm a new and improved Stella.
Yeah.
And then she plays the piano so hard that she breaks a string.
Oh my god. Or no, well, that's what I thought was she was like, "I heard a weird clacking, so I stopped," but, like, it wasn't clear. Or she was like, "It needs to be tuned." Yeah, you're right, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, so then now we go to Michael. She's sad playing the piano, sad boy playing the piano. Michael is sad boy at the dry cleaners, and he like starts design. He like takes out his design notebook and starts designing again, but he just draws pictures of Stella. And he's just this little sad boy, and he keeps like picking up his phone and like checking for like he's like, she said she would stalk and call me, but she's not doing it. Like, why not? Like, he's like,
Yeah.
oh my god. And then he gets super sad and rips up all of his designs and all of his sketches. He's like, I'm worth nothing. I'm just gonna be a sewer. And then his mom pops up later that day and is like, Michael, you are being a fucking dumbass. Why did you break up with her? You're obviously upset with her. You obsessed with her. Like, you have been a grouchy little angry swan this entire week. And you, BT dubs, you dipping on Stella is making you seem an awful lot like your dad because you're not fighting for her. And Michael's like, you think I'm like my dad? And his mom is like, bro, go get your girl. And also stop working at this fucking shop because you don't like it here. And we have 10 million cousins that I can hire.
Right. Well, that's another thing that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way with the mom is that this is the first time we've seen it on screen, but like on page, but Michael like has referenced it that she's like constantly talking shit about the dad. And I get that the dad, like she needs to vent. I get the dad like deserves the shit, but I just feel like, I don't know, like when it's you're not supposed to like talk badly about your kid's parents, right? In general. I mean, this could be like a special case, but especially, and maybe she doesn't realize, but especially when the kid is like internalizing everything as like a direct criticism of him and it's basically seeing like any reflection of his dad as a reflection of him. I don't know. The mom is like
No.
not.
I think the mom just doesn't realize that's the thing, because I think I think her interpretation is that she thinks Michael also just like really dislikes the dad. Like she doesn't really realize that Michael has these like complicated feelings. Like she thinks, because I think Michael outwardly has just been like, fuck my dad, like fuck everything he like, because I think when he came swooping in, he had to like put on this hard shell
No, but I think
exterior.
that's.
I'm not excusing the mom. I'm just saying like I think her interpretation is like we can vent
But
together.
yeah, but that's like kind of the root. I think the root reason that people say don't talk shit about your kid's other parent, it's not the very root reason is not, it's part of it is like because you don't want to like alienate them, like, right? It's like not
Yeah.
parental alienation is a thing, but it's also because like that's half of your kid, right? Like it just inherent, like if they're genetically related, like that's half of your kid. And so like there's always going to be, it's almost inherent that the kid is going to see
Yeah.
any reflection of the parent as a reflection on them. So it's like it's not, it's something that should be like kind of a given. It's not just like
No, I
Michael
mean, it's
being like,
definitely fucked. It's like yeah. It's interesting. Helen Hoang like does like she writes, I think, really complex
yeah.
parent-child relationships. Like there's like good and bad in both parents. Mostly bad in Stella's parents, but like, you know, some good.
Yeah. So and then so Michael's also like, "Oh, well her dad was mean to me." And the mom's like, "Well, of course he was." And Michael's like she was like, "Of course he was. He doesn't think you're good enough for her." And Michael's like, "What? You don't think I'm good enough either?" And she's like, "No, like any dad's going to think that. Like you need to like your dad's parents didn't even like me like at first. I had to win them over." And I'm like, "They just kind of seem like dicks," which checks out.
Well, that's what Michael's like. He's like, wow, this kind of makes me see grandma and grandpa in a different light.
Yeah. And then like, oh god, how does this come up? Like about them like basically the mom's like every mother-in-law wants a daughter-in-law who can get down to business. I want to hold babies again. Like LOL.
She's
Like
like, I like that you guys fuck all the time. It's
oh
great.
my
The mom
god.
is like so into, she's so like, yes, sex positivity, like fuck all the time.
But like just for her own ends.
Yes, exactly. Of course, naturally. So he takes his mom. Oh, they're having this conversation, I'm pretty sure, in the car as he's driving her to the hospital for her like regular checkup. And so he drives her to the hospital, and like at the hospital, the receptionist is just randomly like, "You've won a scholarship that's going to cover all of your funds." And Michael, very reasonably, is immediately like, "This is a scam. Is this some sort of scam?" And it's not. It just turns out that somebody created like a scholarship for like the hospital foundation, and it's a secret donor. I wonder who it could be.
Mhm.
But anyway, Michael's like, "Oh my god, like this is amazing. Like I don't have to escort now. All of our financial bills." But he like specifically doesn't tell his mom because like I've been telling her she just has really good health insurance this entire time. So I'm just not. It's like I'm not going to tell her that we like qualified for this like need-based scholarship.
I know, like he manages to still somehow like worm his way out of it. I don't know, which I really was expecting it all to come like crashing down, but no. So meanwhile, Stella is still trying to like basically she's like she went through all of her attributes about herself that she associated with her disorder. Then she's like going to try to do the exact opposite. And then she's like, "Well, I can undo my routine. I can like quit my job even though I love it." But she's like, "How do I not obsess over Michael? Like how do you like something a reasonable amount?" Like and I'm like, "Yeah, like I just like
Same
okay."
girl.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's like, "Maybe I can become a doctor, even though I would hate it." Most doctors probably don't like their work. They just focus on the end result. I'm like, "All right, Stella." Like, but then Janie, Michael's sister, comes in for her interview. And Janie's like, "Stella, like, I need you and Michael to get back together." And Stella's like, "He broke up with me. Like, what do you want me to do?" And Janie's like, "Oh man, like, well, if you won't take him back, like, there's no reason for me to be here." And like goes to leave. And Stella's like, "Well, wait, why don't you interview?" And Janie's like, "Well, it would be nepotism." And I'm like, "All right, Janie, just like you gotta take what you can get at this point, girl. Like, come on."
Yeah.
But also like it's weird because it kind of implies that the only reason Janie came in at all, slash was asking for an interview, like why like the only reason she came at all was to get them back together. But why would she have asked for the interview to begin with if she
No,
didn't
she
like.
goes in for the interview, but no, I think it's the opposite. I think she's like, "Well, I'm not gonna like. There's no point in me being here. You're not gonna want to hire your ex-boyfriend's sister."
Yeah. Well, no, because she's like, it would be nepotism. That was her
I don't
main
know.
thing.
Either way, yeah.
And
Either
then so
way,
Stella's like,
like,
"Oh, 6 people have to interview you. Like, don't worry. It's not nepotism. You're like
yeah.
the only candidate." Like But yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. And Jeannie's like, all right, well, you and Michael are being dumb, but like, whatever. We'll talk about how much I love economics. And Stella like gets a little teary-eyed. Like she's
Yeah.
listening to Janie talk about how much she loves economics.
And then she has this empowering moment. She's like, "I can't believe I was gonna" wait, what's the exact she's like, "I can't believe I was about to give up my life's calling for a man. Like, I'm not fucking doing this." And then she, like, decides not to quit, like, deletes her resignation letter.
Yeah.
God, Stella. So then Janie gets the job, and she goes home and tells everyone about
Woo.
it. Woo! And Michael's like, "Holy shit, like, Stella hired you? Like, wow."
She
And
doesn't hate
then
me.
yeah. Or, like, she's not at least taking it out on my little sister.
Yeah. So he's realizing he's like, Janie got a job. Like, my mom is like ready to like do more stuff at the store. Like she's in remission. She's like, I mean, she's not in remission, but she's like managing her cancer. And like, he's like, everybody is moving on except for me. And like, I don't even have any reason to restrict myself like I was before because like the medical bills are solved and like we're financially solvent again. And he's like, wow, my cage is just mental now. This is a
Mhm.
brain blast. The two like little brain cells are like sitting at their cafe table being like, we can leave? Like, oh my God, the door has been open this entire time? Holy shit. So Michael. Oh, I also love just like this whole time, everybody assumes that Stella was the one who dumped Michael. He's like, there's
Yeah.
no way like you'd be stupid enough to dump her. Like she's flawless. And I just really love that. Michael has also been he's been sleeping poorly because he was used to sleeping with like he got used to sleeping with Stella, but then he's also he keeps he keeps having wet dreams and like coming
Oh
all
my
over the sheets and
god.
he's like I have to go home and do my
Wash my
laundry
sheets.
again because I keep getting my sheets dirty.
Oh my gosh.
Like, do you need to like put down one of those like baby changing table pads
I
like on your bed?
mean, honestly,
Do
those
you
are,
have
like,
a
a
problem?
great safety device no matter what. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had those for, like,
Yeah.
way too long.
Oh my God. They were so
They're
horrible.
crinkly. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Michael goes to Kwan's family's restaurant, like where Kwan's working.
Mhm.
And he's like, hello, friend. Would you like to go in? He's like, do you want to go work in my mom's shop so you can replace me? Because like I'm gonna quit. And Kwan is like,
Mhm.
oh my God. First of all, no. But like we have 10 million again, we have 10 million cousins.
One of them's a single mom who's been
One
looking
of
for a
them is like
job, like,
yeah,
what?
like one of them is always looking for work. Like I don't understand. He's like, you could have asked for help this entire time. And Michael is just like the surprised Pikachu face. He's like, what? I could have asked for help? Like, holy shit. Whatever. And then Michael's like, I'm gonna take up fashion designing again. Do you want to go into business with me? Because Quan is getting his MBA. And Quan is like,
Uh-huh.
hell yeah, man. I thought you'd never ask.
So then, meanwhile, Stella is at work when Philip asks her out, and she's
No, she
like,
asks Philip out.
"Oh, yeah." She's like, "Oh, do you wanna go to
Because she
dinner?" What?
because she promised her parents she'd consider him.
Yeah.
But she warns PJ in the same like moment. Like they go out to dinner and they're literally on a date and she's like, "Yeah, we hired the new intern." And it's like my ex-boyfriend's sister. And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, her? She's hot." And like she has to warn PJ
I
off
know.
the
She's like,
intern while on a date with him.
she graduated college 3 years ago. Or she graduated
No, no.
high school 3
Yes,
years
she's
ago.
still in college. She's a
Yeah.
college
She's a
student.
junior, yeah.
But yeah, PJ is boring and Stella is just daydreaming about Michael and PJ dueling. Like the entire date, she's just like imagining like Michael beating PJ up and it's just it's just this really bloodthirsty daydreams. And she's like smiling while she's thinking
Yeah.
about it. And PJ like thinks she's smiling about like his like golf monologue or whatever. And she's like, no, like it's just Michael breaking your arm.
She's like, "He wouldn't even have to win. I would patch him up afterward."
But
Like,
he totally could
we just have to
win.
fight,
Like,
yeah. Because yeah, because he's like, "Oh," because she's like, "Oh, have you ever done martial arts?" And Philip's like, "Oh, I took a fencing class in college once, but I didn't like it." And she's like, "Oh, Michael could totally kick your ass then." Like
yeah, he's like, I don't see the point of that, like in today's day and age. And
And
yeah,
she's
she's
like,
like,
I'm about to
okay,
show you the
check.
point.
She's like,
Yeah.
let me just call Michael up real quick. I just want to see this. And don't worry, friends, we get a little taste of that directly after. So they leave.
Stay tuned after this commercial break. Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news. Philip tries to kiss Stella, and who sees them on their date right across the street? But Michael, and he just goes absolutely feral. Like
Yeah.
he is wild. He's rabid. He becomes rabid. Like the honey badger, the swan inside him is set free. And so he flies across the street, and like any self-respecting swan would do, he punches Philip James in the
Right in the
face.
eye. I know.
Right in the
He's just
eye.
lucky there's no, like, lake around, or he would have been, like, drowned or like,
Right.
dead.
Like Michael just would have been holding his head under the water, like honk, 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 honk. Stay away from my girlfriend.
God. Yeah. So, okay, so Stella is not, like, immediately ready to take Michael back, though, 'cause she's still like, "I was just a pity case, like, get away from me, I'm going home now."
She's like, both of you are fucking stupid. I don't like you, Philip James. Like, fuck you, Philip James. Fuck you, Michael. I'm leaving. I'm a strong,
And
independent woman.
there starts Michael's stalking/groveling arc, because he's like, "Oh,
He
a
decides
challenge."
to fight for her because he
Yeah.
finally he's like, "Oh my god, she did love me." He's like, "Oh my god, she has to get over me. That means she fell for me in the first place." I'm like, the two brain cells are like,
Doing the
I don't
tango,
fucking
yeah.
know what they're doing. Like, whatever. They've taken like Adderall and they're suddenly like, "Oh my god, we can
God.
think clearly."
So his first plan is to get her flowers, and he sends it to her
Wait, wait,
office.
wait. I'm sorry.
What?
But first he's because she's walking home, and even after she like rejects him, he still follows her at a distance to make sure she gets home.
Classic. It's like,
Classic
the Blackstone
Winterborn, like,
classic Blackstone dragon.
and fucking marrying Winterborn. We got our third example of man
Oh my
follows.
god.
Yeah,
He
marrying
hired
Winterborn when
yeah.
like Dr. Garrett Gibson is like, we didn't need his help. Like, thank you. If you don't need him, you don't need him to do it, whatever. But yeah, now he's given her flowers. He gives her a karate bear, like a stuffed, like a teddy bear in a karate uniform. And
Mhm.
she's like, I'm too old for stuffed animals. But also she's like, I love him and I cannot leave him alone in the office because then he will be lonely.
Yeah, and she, like, hides it on the way up. Before that, she has the flowers in her office, and PJ comes storming in, and she's like, "What are you doing?" She, like, blocks them with her body, and he's like, "I'm throwing those out." And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "We're dating. You shouldn't be getting flowers from another guy." And she's like, "Bitch, we're not dating, and you literally assaulted me for the second time yesterday. Like, get out of here."
Yeah.
And
The secretary who delivered the flowers is
she
also there
intervenes, yeah, and she's like, "Oh, let's go down to, like, the break room,
to
Philip."
ice your eye because
Yeah,
he has a
and
black
then
eye.
as they're walking away, he, like, ropes her ass, but she's, like, into it, and Stella's like, "Oh, good, I don't have to feel guilty about him anymore." I'm like, "Why are we giving him this, like" it seems like a consolation prize for, like, a total dick, like, I don't get it. Like, this woman is, like, now the new like, I don't know. Just
Fire
bizarre.
Philip. Like,
I
fire
know.
Philip 2022. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. How does this man still have a job? I mean, I understand how he still has a job because that's how the fucking world works, but like,
Yeah.
this is Romance Landia. I should be able to have Philip getting fired as part of my HEA.
Yeah, seriously. I know. Well, I
Whatever.
know, it's like, ugh. Yeah, but anyway, so she smuggles the stuffed animal out of the building. She's like, "I'm too old for
She's
this,"
like,
but
I can't leave it in the office alone. Like, he'll be sad. He'll be scared.
oh, yeah. It gets dark. The lighting is low in here,
Oh my
as we
god.
previously referenced. So the wooing continues
She goes
until
outside. No, she leaves with the karate bear. And guess who is waiting outside her office? And once again, friends, please allow me to emphasize, don't do that. Don't don't wait outside people's places of work. Don't do that. Anyway, they confess their mutual love.
she's like, "Are you wearing the underwear I got you?" Yeah. He unzips his pants.
And he unzips his pants and he's like, "Hell yeah, I am." And then she's like, "Well, he definitely loves me because math says so, because like the KISS quotient says so." And then he takes her to his car and he sold his fancy car that he got from the Stalker X client. And he like just bought a Toyota Corolla.
To get started money for his new venture with his cousin Quan.
And then he finds out that she's the secret donor. Stella's a secret donor, everyone. She donated her $15 million trust fund. Michael's like, wow. And then he's like, that was actually, he's like, thanks for giving me the choice to pick you instead of having to pick you out of financial necessity. This is, let it be known, all you wealthy people, this is what you should be doing with your money.
Well, yeah, I like that
sirs
she does it.
and
It's not just for
ma'ams.
him. She like does a whole trust and like helps a lot of different families.
Right. Like when the nurse is telling Michael, she's like, yeah, I've been telling a lot of families this morning about this thing. Like it's been great. Yeah. So Stella doesn't just help Michael's mom. She helps a lot of people. And then Michael in the car, the last thing he's like, I'm just letting you know, I'm asking you to marry me in 3 months. And Stella's like, why are you telling me this? What? And he's like, because you need some time to get used to the idea. So I'm just telling you in advance.
Which is kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like in the beginning when the mom's like, just so you know, we're ready for grandchildren. Like, I know you like warning, but it's like less obnoxious. I don't know. Like, it's not, it's like cute because, yeah, I don't know.
It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they hold hands, palm to palm. Her hand squeezed his back. 2 lonely halves found comfort at last. That was sweet. And then the epilogue.
It's very cute. Yeah, then we have the epilogue. Michael has started his business. He's getting funding. He's also followed through on the proposal. And Stella gets offered a promotion and she accepts it this time. And she also got a bonus. And she's like, I'm going to buy you a car. And Michael's like, fine, but it has to match yours. And I want it in black.
She has a Tesla. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have matching cars.
Oh,
Cutie pies. Cutie pies. And then the next book, they have a beautiful beach wedding. And Michael designs her wedding dress. And it's just lovely. Oh, also in this epilogue, she's like wearing head to toe Michael Larson. Like,
oh yeah.
which honestly, like a
Great
dream.
designer name.
To have
Yeah,
a partner who like just makes all my clothes like custom made for me. Like that sounds
for
wonderful.
Sure. Yeah.
Sounds
You don't even have to like think about it. Like they like already will know like what to make it look like too.
God, big paw energy for sure.
If you say so.
Listen, paw is my creation. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. I'm allowed to define him however I want. What?
Everyone's a paw.
No. No, for example, Anthony Bridgerton is not a paw.
No. He
Anthony
wants to
Bridgerton's
be.
not paw.
The irony is that like he would call himself a paw, but he's like the opposite.
He's not a paw. He tries to be a paw. He's not paw.
Yeah. Not paw.
Yeah.
Why does that sound like what does that remind me of? Not Hoth. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Nice. All right, cat scale.
All right, so we're starting at I guess 3. Just flagging.
Okay.
Because we have a 1 for courtesy liking the book, and we have 2 plus 2 for autism for cats.
Okay.
I mean, we already established that they're a honey badger and swan.
Right, and I feel like honey badger
neither
is
of them are
cat-like.
cats.
Yeah,
it hisses. Honey badgers definitely hiss.
They definitely
Definitely
hiss.
are like.
I was gonna say they hunt with coyotes, which are solidly dogs, so they should be a cat. But I could also see them being kind of dog-like. They're kind of like hyenas. They're like midway between.
Yeah. Honey badgers are their own category.
like
I don't know whether we can put them.
Yeah, other things about her are cat-like though. But
well, that's like I feel like incorporated in the
that's
autism.
True. But I'm trying to think but it's so hard to set like when Michael's a dog.
Definitely not a dog. Like I mean, Michael is definitely a dog. He's definitely not a cat. What kind of dog?
Golden Retriever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Golden Retriever complimentary, not Golden Retriever derogatory.
Right. Yeah.
Complimentary. I feel like none of the other characters, like, I mean, the other characters are fleshed out, but I just feel like none of them is like
the mom.
I didn't get to know any of them enough in order to. What
would you say the moms are? Michael's mom and Stella's mom. I would say the same.
Stella's mom is like a bird.
I disagree.
She's like a parrot.
Stella's kind of a bird, in a way.
A little bit. But she's a honey badger. Michael's the swan. You've read this book. Let us know. What kind of animal do you think?
Well, we have to make our cat scale judgment.
I know. I'm putting it out there. I would like to know what the listeners think.
Also, the grapefruit thing. Don't forget about that.
Anyway,
3.
I'm ready. 2, 1, 5.
7.
Wow.
Well, because I'm adding
like
3.
Our biggest gap yet.
So
I know. I'm going up from 3.
You would have given it a 2. Wait.
No, I would have given it a 3.
5.
Yeah.
So you would have given it a 2. You said we started at 3.
Yes.
So you gave it a 5. So 3 plus 2 is 5.
Yeah, but everything starts at a 1.
What? You said it started at 3.
All of the books get a courtesy 1.
Oh, well. So then you would have given it a 1. Or
No, I would have
sorry.
given it a 3. Telling you right now, I would have given it a 3.
Okay, well then you should give it a 6 on our scale.
I'm giving it a 5 because I can't factor in because of the +2 autism. I feel like the most
You
cat
said
stuff was
+3
Stella.
autism. Oh, maybe you said +2. Yeah. So I was thinking 5.
Yeah.
Your math is still not mathing them. But all right. 5 and 7, so 6. So Allison, where can they find us?
Well, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at We Read It One Night, or on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can also email us, wereaditone@gmail.com. Please feel free to send pictures of you with a grapefruit, either making a happy face or a sad face, to tell us whether grapefruit tastes good to you or not. Also, let us know what kind of dog you think Stella or Michael's mom is.
If she's a dog at all. She might not be a dog.
What kind of animal? Yeah.
Guess what? We're on YouTube now. Very exciting. So if that's your like listening platform of choice, go check us out. Also, as per usual, we're still on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or literally anywhere that will let you rate and review, hit us a rate and review. 5 stars is preferred. Your review can literally just be like meow or like Godspeed. We've gotten some of those. Thank you very much
You
for
can
that.
also put like the angry face or the like big cute eyes face if you would like to like reflect that you're leaving a review in response to this episode. Just
Any of
as a little
those.
inside joke. We can have like a little,
little dialogue going
a
there.
a
Toe-a-toe?
a
Tete-a-tete.
toe-a-toe,
No,
a
I
tete-a-tete.
I
I
don't think it's
hate the
actually a
French
toe. No, I
language.
thought it was a toto for the British say tete-a-tete.
No, but the British also say valet.
Yeah, I know.
Instead of valet. They purposely mispronounce French words because, of the 100 Years' War.
It reminds me of the time I had to read a poem out loud in English class, and the word toilette was in it, like a lady's toilette. And I said it like that, and the whole class, including the teacher, laughed out loud at me. And then I was like, the next day, the teacher was like, "Oh, here's Google like pronouncing it. Like Rachel was right."
Well, hey, at least she like vindicated you.
Is it the same teacher as the 100 Years of Solitude debacle?
Oh my gosh, you had a lot of trauma in that class. Listen, it's better. It's better than the time I was in playwriting class and we had to read each other's like plays out loud, like each class, and we would read the scenes that we had written. And this guy used the word. I was reading the directions, like the stage directions, and this guy had included a character carrying a machete. I know the word machete, but I read this word and I was like, match it? Like, I just did it. I was like, match it. And I even fucking looked up, made eye contact with the writer and was like, match it? Like, to confirm that I was saying it correctly. And this bitch did not correct me. And then, like, 5 hours later, I sit up in bed at like 11 p.m. I sit up in bed and I go, machete! And I woke up my roommate. I was so mad. I was like, oh my God, it's fucking machete. And none of them I asked to be corrected and none of these assholes corrected me. So mad. Anyway, don't do that. If someone makes it clear they want to have their pronunciation corrected, just correct them, please. Please. Don't make them wake up in a cold sweat 7 hours later. That's also something you would leave in actually don't leave machete in your review because I feel like that could be interpreted as like a threat and you may get like filtered out by the algorithm. I don't want you guys to put on some sort of like watch list, so don't put machete.
How much damage
I feel like a machete
really
could do a lot of
close
damage.
Range, but like how many people have never mind. All right. Good. Godspeed, comrade.
Godspeed.